Hello, can everyone hear me? Okay, good to see you. Alright, so we have a lot to talk about in this live stream. There are several things, as you saw in the thumbnail and title. We have another heat wave that is set to impact us once again. This is the third one this summer, if I'm correct. We have some Sunday storms, and we're going to be tracking the tropics as well and taking a look at the long-range outlook. And looking at the satellite right now, we have some partly to mostly cloudy skies here in Greenville County, and it's not that hot outside here compared to other areas in the state. You can see here down near the coast it's sunnier and hotter. And also, by the way, I forgot to mention at the beginning is that I'm covering now North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. So I'm going to be putting a little bit more emphasis on the upstate of South Carolina, but as the audience grows, I'll be paying more attention to the rest of these three states. So a little bit of an exciting announcement there. And looking at the radar right now, some pop-up thunderstorms in Georgia are heading east here towards South Carolina, so don't be surprised if you hear some heavy rain for about 15 minutes outside today. The same goes for tomorrow, and I'll be talking about that here in a little bit. But today, for the hottest time of the day, we're going to be reaching 92 degrees, feeling like the mid-90s with that humidity. Waking up tomorrow, a warm and muggy start here, 75 at the GSP airport. And actually, let me go back. Pretty muggy and warm elsewhere. You see Columbia, Charlotte, and Atlanta here with dealing with mid to upper 70s in the morning. So check in on neighbors if you can, because especially if you don't have air conditioning, the heat can get to you if you don't have much of a break there in the morning. And looking at the maximum temperature, mid 90s are forecast for Greenville County. You can see here Atlanta 94, Charlotte 94, Columbia 97, and elsewhere mid to upper 90s. And with this heat comes humidity, and we're actually going to be moving on to the heat wave. So right now, this is for today. The dew points are gonna rise into the 70s, so almost oppressive humidity here. This is air you can wear. So 70s here along the coast, inland, and even in the mountains it's a little bit muggy. So no escape from the heat and humidity here. And let me go back again. Looking ahead, the humidity sticks around. You can see here for Monday, almost upper 70s in the southeast for dew points. So getting that high humidity is definitely gonna it's not gonna let you sweat, which is important to keeping you cool, and humidity that high is definitely dangerous, especially without air conditioning. And looking at the temperatures themselves, this is the feels like today. You can see here mid 90s to upper 90s, some places even hitting 100 for a feels like temperature. And taking this farther ahead, Sunday, south of I-85, and basically most of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia here dealing with upper 90s to lower 100s for feels like temperatures. And we see more of the same here. Monday, it's actually a little bit cooler and stays like that until midweek, where we once again warm up to the upper 90s and lower 100s. Here, this is Thursday. Here, upper 90s, then lower 100s Friday. And the heat starts to back off slowly but surely here into next weekend. So another long-lived stretch of warmth, and with this warmth comes the threat of some strong to severe thunderstorms. Here in South Carolina, we have a low risk and a low to medium risk in North Carolina. And that was a terrible circle. Let me take that off. There we go. Okay, I guess we'll have to deal with it. Northeast Georgia, getting in on the low risk, but nothing too high. And looking at the future radar, this is the HRRR model, which is one that is the most accurate for this type of situation when you're looking at thunderstorm coverage. You can see here thunderstorms all across the eastern coast of the United States, here from Maine through the I-95 corridor that runs through New York City and Washington, D.C., here Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee, getting in on a stormy evening for tomorrow. And here now we're going to be moving on to the tropics. We have 3 systems, and one is a tropical wave here behind Beryl, which we're going to be talking a lot about here in this live stream. And then this one, Invest 94L, that is over the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico right now. The one with the highest chance of developing is this one that is sitting over the Yucatan Peninsula. It has a 40% chance as it heads back over the Gulf of Mexico. We have this one, which actually dropped off its chances. It had, well, this is for the next 48 hours actually. It has a 60% chance through the next 7 days of forming into a tropical depression or tropical storm. And Beryl here right now has 65 mile per hour winds, so it's a well organized and strong system. Well, right now we're going to quickly take a look at satellite for the system over Mexico. There we go. Here, a very broad and wide circulation. You can see the winds heading here, spinning in a counterclockwise motion, which means that winds on the east side or the right side coming from the south, and on the left side from the north. But nothing too compact, but there are definitely some flooding, rains, and heavy thunderstorms right now impacting the Yucatan. And this is a model intensity graph, and it shows that most of them agree that this will at least briefly become a tropical storm. And actually, let me check the chat real quick. Okay, so curious question, because I follow you and I saw you improving. What do you like about being a weatherman? Okay, so I really like how the weather changes and all the different things that kind of come together to form these systems. It really interested me. I've always liked the weather basically my whole life. Really the thing that really, how can I say it, really kind of solidified my love for the weather was the Easter tornado outbreak. For anyone that remembers, in 2020, especially in the southeast, we had a moderate or 4 out of 5 risk, and I knew Chris Justice for that, and I saw his weather forecasts, and yeah, it kind of solidified my interest for the weather, and here I am today, and hopefully in the future I can become certified in all of that and save lives. And okay, I'll check that out after the live stream. Okay, so back to where we were. This is the satellite image. Well, I forgot to say at the beginning also that the brighter the colors here, the colder or the higher the clouds are. So if you didn't know what all of this mess of colors was, that's what it is. So these white clouds here are just high clouds actually. No, low clouds. I got mixed up there. And all of these vibrant colors are cooler and higher clouds. And usually if they're higher, that means that those are thunderstorms. And here you can see some blowing off to the west of the center because of some wind shear, which is the turning of wind and high as you go up higher in the atmosphere, or the strength of the wind as you go up higher. And there's an upper level high pressure off to the north. You can't see it on here, and it's higher than that. It's in latitude, but this is not for scale. But it is blowing some northeasterly winds into the system, so a little bit of dry air and wind shear pushing the storms a little bit away from the center, which is, let me take this off and change the color actually. I'll change it to white. Maybe they'll, actually let me go for a blue maybe. There we go. The center is somewhere in here. Yesterday it was looking a little bit worse than this. It's gotten its act together a little bit better today. And this, like I said, has 65-mile-per-hour wind, so it's gonna soon become a hurricane. And let's take a look at the cone right now. This is the cone by the National Hurricane Center. You can see here right now it's a very small wind field of tropical storm force winds. And let me take a look at the chart again. Okay, do you think any of the storms will hit us? No, well, maybe. It's a very low chance of the storms actually hitting you. It's a 50 to 60% chance. Jay here also commenting on the weather. That's Spanish, by the way, for anyone that doesn't know. So looking at the cone here, looking like this will become a hurricane here probably by tonight. And now it's looking like it will become a major hurricane here. That's why there's a little M in this cone. And the center looks like it's probably going to hit some of these islands here in the Lesser Antilles. So if you know anyone on a cruise over there or just vacationing there, make sure to give them a heads up to find a good shelter and get their kit ready, or maybe come back to the United States before this hits. This is forecast to hit by Monday morning here, listed by this 8 a.m. Monday label. And this will move into the Caribbean, which is this body of water between all of these islands and Central America, which is right in here. And stay a hurricane as it could possibly hit Jamaica, which is in here. And after this, we don't know what will happen. We'll have to keep tracking it, but if it strengthens or it finds a weakness in the heat dome that is giving us all of this oppressive heat in the United States, it might recurve north, but that's too early to tell right now. Or it could head west here into Central America. But like I said, we'll have to keep tracking it. But for now, looking like there's high confidence that it will hit the islands here. And looking at the forecast models, this is the European model. And let me take this back. The storm is here. This is Beryl. And actually, I didn't want to do that. It's right in here. This is the little L and all this blob of rain. And this is going to be heading west-northwest here, and it's showing a weaker scenario than what the National Hurricane Center is saying. This is a mid-grade tropical storm based on the pressure, which is that number here, 993. That is the pressure in millibars. And around this number is where would usually be a tropical storm. And it froze on me. There we go. So you can see it stays weaker, and the European model only goes out 7 days. So this is Wednesday. Next Wednesday, July 3rd, it shows a weak to mid-grade tropical storm in the northern Caribbean, here close to the Dominican Republic. Now looking at the American model, which is the GFS model, it agrees a little bit more with the National Hurricane Center, and it has a stronger low near, you can't really see this number well, but it's 965 millibars. So this is a major hurricane, so agreeing with the National Hurricane Center, and it hits the islands at 970 millibars and continues on its westward trek across the Caribbean, hitting Jamaica as a tropical storm. And then after that, things get a little bit uncertain, but that other wave I was talking about with that medium chance of development shows that getting close to the islands as well behind it as a tropical storm. But the mountains here, if you didn't know, these islands have mountains, and high mountains in fact. So if this gets close to the islands, the circulation is going to be disrupted because it has to go over the mountains, and that would in turn weaken the storm. So as you can see, the American model has it going over the mountains and then just becoming a messy blob of rain. Now look, analyzing the ocean temperatures, most of the Atlantic has higher than normal temperatures, which are these warm colors, the oranges and reds here. And where Beryl is right now, it's in warmer than average water, and it's going to be moving into warmer than average water throughout its life. So it's going to at best be keeping its intensity, in my opinion, as it traverses the Caribbean, but it's not going to be strengthening because of the wind shear. And looking at the actual temperatures, this is in Celsius, this isn't in Fahrenheit, but these are upper 80s if you convert it to Fahrenheit. So definitely conducive for tropical development. Not the hottest ever, but it's enough for the tropical storm to strengthen, or at least maintain its strength. And looking at the spaghetti models, each of these differently colored lines is a different model, and these are the global, like the American and European, plus the hurricane models, and this is showing that this will probably hit the islands and then maybe head off towards Mexico and Central America, but the spread, or the area between the farthest north and farthest south spaghetti model gets pretty big by that time. Now looking at this graph for intensity, the more the lines, each line, like the spaghetti models, is a different model, and most of these show it reaching at least briefly Category 3 status, so that's why the National Hurricane Center decided to label this as a major hurricane as it hits the islands, and then losing strength as it encounters some wind shear and those mountains. And this is the European ensemble, which is kind of a variation of the actual European model itself. It kind of has different starting conditions, and there are, I think, 50, if I'm correct, of these, and most of these show it heading somewhere in the Lesser Antilles and then heading off into the Caribbean and at the end of the run. And this is the American model ensemble. It has less members, so that's why you don't see as many lines, but most of them also show a pretty strong hurricane barreling through the Lesser Antilles by Monday. Now looking at the temperature probability outlook for next week. It's showing warmer than average temperatures once again for the southeast, which is something that we've gotten used to at this point. It's been pretty hot for the last 2 to 3 weeks, and not looking like it's going to be raining that much other than the typical pop-up thunderstorm. Now looking at the week afterwards, this is July 6th through July 12th. Still looking warmer than average in the southeast. And looking at precipitation, it's looking maybe a little bit wetter, but not by much. This is only a 33% chance of it being wetter than normal. So that was it. That was the whole live stream. Does anyone have any questions before we go? I hate it if I didn't answer the question while I was explaining. It's not looking likely right now, but it's still pretty far away, so we'll keep an eye on it, but nothing to be concerned about yet, at least. Okay. I'll give everyone a minute to kind of gather their questions before we go. And also, if you have any constructive criticism for me on how I could get better, or any feedback you have, I would appreciate that as well. I know I kind of stuttered today. I'm going to continue to get better on that, but yeah. Okay, how many people do we have on? Okay, 3 people. Not bad, I guess. We'll get there. Okay, Hayden. Oh, you can't? Huh. I think you meant down. Stop. Let me. I'm trying to. There we go. Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, I'll be getting some stream upgrades, and I'll make sure to improve the setup. So I'm excited for that. Thank you for telling me. I didn't realize that. Now it's too low. Let me move that. Oh, now my background's grainy. Well, I'll make sure to try and fix that. Okay. Let me check this real quick. Alright, now the background's looking better on me. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining. I know it was a little bit rocky, with a little bit of technical issues and all that stuff, but I'm feeling pretty proud of myself, especially because I haven't streamed this long. This is the first time I go over 20 minutes. Actually, it's 26 right now. So yeah, I'll be closing the live stream now. You can put any comments you have afterwards if it's on, because I've noticed that it turns it off even though I have it on, which is kind of weird. But yeah, thank you again everyone, and thank you Hayden, and that's my dad right there with Toad. So I kind of just doxed him right now, but yeah, thank you for joining and watching, taking your time out of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one.